Okay, well, I don't like school. I mean, I actually mostly hated school, and I'll tell you why. But first, the tender years in elementary school. It was Hunter Model Elementary School. That's where the Hunter College students practice on us. And we got chosen because we were supposed to be very smart. And that was one of the things that interfered with my school career. But it was progressive. It was interesting. You know what sticks 80 years later? We explored the floating gardens of Xochimilco. I remember the name. It was so exotic. And then there was nap time, and nobody naps at nap time. We don't wriggle around. But there was our teacher, Miss Rice. She had long red hair, and she had the strangest and most fascinating lunch ritual. She would take out what she called an alligator pear. We know it as an avocado. She would cut it in half and pop out the pit. And in the declivity, she would pour salad dressing. And with a tiny little spoon, she would scoop it up and very delicately eat that entire alligator pear all up. We were riveted. And then while we were supposedly napping, she would sit at the upright and she would play Red River Valley over and over and over and over again. And while she was doing this, she was weeping. And finally, they came and took her away. So, Miss Rice, she may be gone from that, but she lives inside me, the wonderful craziness. So I got through Hunter Model Elementary School, and what was next? Fieldston, an ethical culture school, and the cheer was strong as an eagle, swift as a vulture. We are the birds of ethical culture. You can tell it's a little strange, but it was a very good education, and it was lucky because it was really the only education I ever had. They made us write things in classical mode, and I got to do stuff I really liked. I liked to sing, I liked to dance. Oh, the choruses. Oh, the time in the shop in which I made long charts of Laban notation, which is a way of writing down movement under the eyes of this very enigmatic shop teacher whom I had a crush on. Now, here's what happened at Fieldston School. I didn't believe I was smart like they said, but I didn't want to reveal my lacks. So if I didn't finish my papers, nobody would know. And therefore, I didn't finish paper after paper after paper after paper, and I flunked out. And then what are my parents going to do with me? They sent me to a place in Wilkes-Barre to shape me up. And then I went to college because it was okay in Wilkes-Barre, at least for then. And then I flunked out of that too, because I was caught in a full frontal steamy embrace in the dorm room, and you don't do that back in the late 50s. And so there I was back in New York City, the scene of the crime, in my parents' apartment. What was I going to do? And so they got me a job through an old nanny at a school. It happened to be Columbia University, and I was filling transcripts. I didn't have any skills, but I could fill a transcript, okay? And you should know that I also took courses at the School of General Studies because I was weird. And the one I took that I loved was German, because I love that spiky writing and I love the strange kind of the way the words are like freight trains with a caboose at the end that tells you what it was all about. And I wanted to read Rilke in the original, and I wanted to know what the leader singers were singing about. And then there was Kafka. And so that worked pretty well. And I also took a writing class, which, I had to finish a paper. I didn't finish a paper. But that teacher, she also, I think she had a nervous breakdown and they took her away. So you could say that was the extent of my education. And I was so relieved to be free of the weight of school, because what I really liked to do was read what I wanted to read. I didn't want anybody else to tell me what to read. And the irony goes on, because when my kids were big enough to put in school, what did I do? I was a school secretary. Since I didn't like school, I wanted to be welcoming. I wanted to be warm. And this was the 70s, and you could do this kind of stuff. And so there I was in this progressive school. And there, of course, was great drama. And I bet you don't know that the school secretary really runs things. Lots of power underneath. But there were palace revolts, and the old progressive woman who started it got nudged out by some Johnny come lately from Reading who liked to play the clarinet, or perhaps it was the saxophone, and he spoke with a drawl. He was lanky, and I don't know what he was even doing there. And then we got kicked out of our apartment in San Francisco. Not that we were bad, the landlord wanted it. And we moved to the country. And you know, it was 2 blocks down from my house, a school. And I became school secretary for the Bolinas Stinson School District, which was kind of in a tiny trailer. And I, again, used what I do, which is, come, relax, be welcome. And there was an extra twist to this because there was a very sexy superintendent principal. And in that little trailer, the heat started to rise and we had an affair. It was very obvious. Everything was very public way back then. And so my husband said, Neshama, I mean, he was a great hearted man, but he said, this has to stop. And I said, I understand. And so I resigned and the superintendent principal resigned. And then I went on to a whole bunch of other things that were not exactly school related, except that I ended up working for a magazine where I had to learn very fast how to be an editor. And then I had to write papers and actually get them done. And so that's my brilliant school career. Horrible, horrible to think about. And I'm so glad every September comes around and I say, whoa, I don't have to go to school. I can read anything I want. And I read big and small and eclectic, and it all goes in and it all comes out. And so actually you're looking at, if you don't know the word, an autodidact. I taught myself. And so that is my school story for you.